Have you ever heard of Prince Charles being referred to as the Duke of Cornwall? Or read the poetry by Lord Byron? Or simply watched an episode of Downton Abbey following the exploits of the family of the Earl of Grantham? Well, you may have wondered where these terms come from and what they mean. These titles, Duke, Lord, Earl, are all related to nobility. The nobility was and is a social class with its origins in feudal Europe during the Middle Ages. Feudalism was a social and political system in which a king of a country bequeathed land and political privileges to nobles in exchange for services to the crown, which usually meant fighting in war. As time turned to the late medieval and early modern periods, this system became more hierarchical and more convoluted, arriving at the somewhat confusing system we have today. In this video, I will be disentangling some of these complexities as I explain the ranks of nobility. The ranks of nobility changed from place to place and changed through time. Some systems were very complex, like in the Holy Roman Empire, whose dizzying geographical and political complexity was mirrored in the structure of its nobility. And some systems were more simple, like in the Empire of France, where Napoleon simplified the previously complex system of the old regime. We will be using the British system because it's the best known and is still in use to this day. There are 5 ranks in the British system. In order of precedence, they are Duke, Marquis, Earl, Viscount, and Baron, each with their own female equivalents. In Anglo-Saxon England, before the Norman conquest in 1066, there was but one rank in the nobility, the Earl. The term Earl has 2 possible origins, either coming from the Old Norse Jarl, meaning leader, or Ealdorman from the Anglo-Saxon, which meant basically the same thing. The female equivalent, Countess, gives a hint to what the rank was called in continental Europe. Count. Yes, like that guy. The Earl was the basic noble lord in feudal England, controlling the different counties, yes, that's where that name comes from, of the land. Earls are to be referred to as Lord so-and-so and countesses as Lady so-and-so. After the Norman conquest, William the Conqueror introduced the Baron. In Normandy, the term Baron meant much the same as Earl, a representative of the king in different areas of the country, in this case called a barony. But during the melding of Anglo-Saxon and Norman societies, both terms were used, and eventually Baron became the rank of nobility below that of Earl. Barons and Earls, who themselves were automatically given the title of Baron, were often called to the King's Council. This tradition eventually evolved into the House of Lords. The female equivalent to a baron is a baroness, and while you may hear barons referred to as Baron so-and-so, the correct form of address is, like with earls, lord and lady. In the year 1337, the title of Duke was introduced to England when King Edward III gave his son the title of Duke of Cornwall, after losing his own title of Duke of Normandy. The term goes back to the Roman Empire and was used in the German and French lands after the fall of Rome. Originally, the title of Duke was only held by royals, but was later expanded. It is the highest rank of nobility, and the title is only held by 24 people today in Britain. They traditionally ruled over duchies. The female equivalent is Duchess, and dukes and duchesses are to be referred to as Your Grace. These 3 ranks, Duke, Earl, and Baron, are the building blocks of the system, and subsequent ranks are derivatives of these ones. A Marquis is the second highest rank, above Earl but below Duke. The term comes from the Germanic march, meaning borderland, so a Marquis translates to Earl or Count of a march. The word Margrave was used in the Germanic lands before it came to England, being introduced by Richard II in 1385, whose brother-in-law was the Margrave of Brandenburg. The title Marquis was actually quite unpopular in the time after it was introduced. Many earls were insulted that the rank was placed above their own. The reason given for its higher ranking was because a marquis's territory was on the border, and therefore strategically more important than a normal county. The female equivalent is marchioness. They are referred to as lord and lady, and in some circumstances as the most honorable so-and-so. Lastly, we have the viscount. As the term implies, the name comes from Viscount, like vice president, and the post originated as the office of the deputy to a count, or the sheriff of a county, but later it became a hereditary rank in the Holy Roman Empire in the 12th century. It first came to England in 1440 and was placed above the rank of baron. The female equivalent is viscountess. They are referred to as lord and lady. So those are the 5 ranks of the British nobility. Again, they differ from other historical structures of nobility elsewhere in Europe, and when you study those systems, some questions may arise. Like, why are princes sometimes placed below dukes? And why are some countries not ruled by a king, but a prince or an archduke? And wait, what is an archduke anyway? And what's a baronet? Well, those sorts of questions will have to wait for another day. Thanks for watching. Okay, a baronet is like a hereditary knighthood, sort of. It's in the British system, but it's not considered noble. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching my video on nobility. Subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you liked it, comment letting me know what you think. Check out some of my other videos if you want to learn more. Bye!